Today on Breaking Into, the host becomes the subject. That's right, we are breaking into the mind of our beloved host, James LOTT Jr. You thought the Stormy Daniels interview was going to be juicy? Wait till you see what we have coming up next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Lives. Breaking Into. I am ready.
Oh, yeah.
For success. I am success. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready.
Welcome to Breaking Into on Black Hollywood Live. You can follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. I am your guest host for today. My name is Alice Safarti, and you can follow me at alicesarfati.com. And I just want to thank you, Mr. James LOTT Jr., for taking the hot seat and allowing your fans to get all those questions that are burning inside them to finally be answered. We want to know everything about you, and that's what this show is about today.
Oh, my goodness. There's a lot to know, too. Yes.
So let's start. If you guys don't know, I know you watch the show a lot. Actually, the guest picks the music that plays in the intro.
Yeah.
So today you picked the song. And we're all familiar with I Am Ready because that is your voice.
That is my voice. That's my song, my first song ever. It's almost a year old. I can't believe it. It's going to be included on my first ever album that's coming out in the spring. I'm just excited. It was a one-off venture that turned into a third, fifth, seventh career for me. Something like that. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down because I know you have like 50 careers going on, but one of them is recording artist.
Yes,
How did recording artists just come along?
Someone said to me that you have such a great voice. Of course, I hear it all the time. You have a good voice, but you really thought doing music. And I had been in a band in the '90s, like some obscure band.
What was the name of this band?
Mangina. And it was in San Francisco. Yes, in San Francisco, and we did dance rock music. At the time, a movement called Electroclash was big, and bands like Fisher Spooner, Ladytron, they're all coming up with these kind of music that's kind of, it was like rock, but it was also dance music. And I like both genres. So I did that like years ago, and we didn't have any really success or anything. Just kind of infamous. But someone said you should do some of your spoken word that you do and put it to music. I released a book last year of poetry that was successful. And he was like, you should take one of your poems. And I was like, well, I don't want to take one of my poems. And that's for my book. That was complete for my book. So I wrote I Am Ready in 20 minutes. It was divine intervention came to me. And I spoke it out. And I was like, okay, that's good. And I sent it to a producer friend of mine that's what we came up with. And he sent me that on my birthday last year.
Fully produced for the first time.
It was 11:50 at night. My birthday was almost over.
Oh my God, what a great birthday present.
It was. I cried. I actually cried.
I would cry too if I heard my voice along with music mixed so nice.
Yeah, I was like,
I actually listen to your song when I'm like getting into like a mood.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Like, yes, it's so inspiring.
Thank you. That's the whole point. I make conscious dance music. That's what I always say.
Is that the genre? Conscious dance music.
So all my songs have a message, but they're danceable.
So you wrote a song in Spanish too.
I did. Lo mismo es lo mismo. Yes.
Lo mismo es lo mismo.
The same is the same.
What inspired writing in Spanish?
Because of my background, because I am part Spanish, of course, part Latino. But no, also I wanted to explore just different genres of music, and I thought it was another just challenge for me. I'm like, 'cause I know how to speak Spanish, I know how to read and write. I was like, well, can I write a song in Spanish and a fun kind of dance? Kind of irreverent. It wasn't anything serious. I said, can I do that and actually make it? And my producer was like, yes, try it, do it, try it. And my producer, Loey Palms, said, try it. And I was like, okay, I'll sit down. And it took me about a week, actually, to put that together. And I wrote it in Spanish first. And so there might be a Spanish version I wrote it in English first. It might be English version one day, who knows. But I just kind of know, just something different, just to kind of do something different. It was actually very successful.
Yeah, you want to reach out to the Latinos
that
want to hear your voice too.
Yes, and all my Latino friends, they say it was very bueno. So I love it. But it's just being in the studio, pushing myself. I have an EP coming out. Actually,
oh, you do? When
April
does that
5th.
come out?
Okay, so there's a group called Chog, and they do quirky dance music.
Sounds like your genre.
Yes, it's me. And the two singles we've have out already is Honey Lamb, which is a term of endearment I call people, honey lambs. You're a honey lamb.
Aww.
And also a song called Oh My God, Like Totally.
I love that song.
I know. It's like, this song is so, I think, and our producer, engineer Marissa, I know likes that song too, I think.
just laughed.
Yeah, I know. It's like song they play.
I do love that song.
It's such just a fun, dancey pot, and it came because my 3-year-old niece, Michaela Grace, I would always say to her, "Oh my God, like totally." She would laugh every single time I did it. And we were in the studio, and Chalk was like, "Keep doing that, Jace. Keep doing that." They put the mic on me. They came with music.
Maybe you need to start a YouTube channel for kids where you just say, "Oh my God," like totally, and other stuff. You could be like the new Mr. Rogers.
Well, here's what's funny. So the EP is coming out April 5th. It's called the 5-song EP, Chog and James LOTT Jr. I think it's a children's album.
Really?
Now that I'm listening to it, because we did 5 songs, and all the kids I played for love it.
I think, you found your niche.
So I think I'm going to have a child's dance album out first, and then my regular solo album. But it's kind of weird. Like, I think it's a kid's album.
Yeah.
So I'm passing out to all the kids, I guess.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
It's good. It's going to be fun. It's a fun, upbeat, which we need nowadays. Upbeat, fun music. And it's harmless.
Escape music.
Yeah, it's harmless.
We need that right now.
It's harmless.
So you mentioned that you're part Spanish, and I feel like you represent America right now in this day and age, because you're a mix of all kinds of backgrounds.
Yes, I am.
So tell your audience, because people always ask me, "What's your background? You're so I can't put you in a box," and I'm like, "That's right."
Yes.
And I know people can't put you in a box
Yes.
because you represent so many different ethnicities and backgrounds. So if you had to break it down, what's your background?
So this is the thing. I really love that I grew up multicultural. First of all, I want to make sure I say that I love that. And growing up in Los Angeles, part-time in New York, Midwest, I get to have all kinds of cultures. So so each one. So I am African American, clearly, Puerto Rican, West Indian, Creole. So Creole, of course, if you don't know what Creole is, that's Dutch, French. I mean, that's Black, French, and Indian. I'm part Dutch. So it's like, but I grew up also with a Chinese godmother and Japanese godfather.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, where I was mostly around Mexican and Central American.
So you, like I said, you represent the America of today.
Yes. And I go to New York all the time to see my family. The West Indian, Puerto Rican, there's the Dominican, Cuban, it's all there too. So I grew up with all kinds of people. So I grew up with a nice, rich histories. I had some rich histories in my background. All the food was good.
That's true.
God, all of them. The Creole food,
and
Puerto
we have
Rican
eaten
food.
Together, so I could tell you he knows his food.
Yes, we have eaten together. Yes,
and I think we're going to go eat together after that.
So that's all my backgrounds. I am multicultural. So, but I'm proud of each one and everything.
Yeah. So, also besides being multicultural, I think you also relate to people in the sense that, well, let's start with an easy subject. Let me read, because I need to read this.
Okay.
Your listing of professions here. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. I need a list here because this is a long one. Okay. Let's start. Broadcaster, life coach, professional organizer, background actor, recording artist, author, poet, speaker, painter. You are one busy man, sir.
Yeah, it's a little busy. A little bit.
So to quote yourself, you are, quote unquote, a doer.
I'm a doer, yes.
So how do you describe yourself when people ask you, what do you do?
I say I do a lot of stuff. I tell them James of all trades.
That's a good way to say it.
Because seriously, I mean, it changes in different conversations, to be really honest. Because if I'm in a certain field or industry, then I highlight that, obviously. Mm-hmm. I was with professional organizers last month. I'm a professional organizer, certified life coach. I'd make that first. But they know I'm on TV, too. Mm-hmm. So in other situations, I might say I'm that, plus I'm a TV and radio host. Mm-hmm. Or I may go somewhere else where I'm like, well, I'm a recording artist. So I can change it around.
Yeah.
But I was in an Uber today, and someone said to me, "So what do you do?" I go, "I'm in entertainment."
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing, because I literally am doing a lot of different things in entertainment.
You are. And
in professional services. So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to say it easier. It's an ongoing, because I keep adding things to it. Because, do the books and this, and I'm a speaker, and I can add more. I'm a speaker now, a teacher trainer. I have a lot of stuff going on.
So but you're doing what you have passion doing. You do what you love to do. But I know you started off your career in a more traditional line of work where you were a nurse.
Yes.
So how did you go from doing something traditional to doing something that just talks to your heart?
It took me 40 years. It literally. I tell people all the time, it's never too late to find your passion. I did what I thought I was told I was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I followed the dream where you're supposed to get married, have kids, you get a job, you stay until you're 65, you retire to Miami, and then you live the rest of your life out. That's what I thought that's what was supposed to happen. Somewhere along the line, I did these jobs that I thought I was supposed to take, which were good. They were good for me. They all add up to what I'm doing today. I use each one. But nursing, I love people. Mm-hmm. I loved helping people. So I kind of went that direction. I have a family of doctors and healthcare administrators in my family, my father, uncles. So I went that direction. But then I was like, I don't like sick people. Get out of here.
Wrong line of business.
It's a little too. But then I was raising a kid, co-raising a kid. So I was like, I need to make money. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do sometimes. And I was young. I was just kind of figuring it out. So after that, I did retail, did food service. I did banking. I did finance. I've worked at a mortuary. I was a window dresser. I've done all kinds of stuff. And my last job before I came and found my calling, I worked in insurance education.
Okay. So the lot is like a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs.
2 T's, yes. Mm-hmm. And so the last job I had I was a farm and ag insurance specialist.
Oh my God.
So we go all over the country and run conferences. I'd be in Des Moines, Iowa. I'd be in Richmond, Virginia. I'd be in Texas, talking about cranberry bogs and turkey ranches and poultry farms.
Very random.
Very random. Oh, my life is very random. But it all leads to turning 40 years old 10 years ago and going, I hate my life.
So what happened? I want to know, like, what triggers someone to say, you know what? I've been following this path that society has told me, which I feel like you should be the spokesperson for this, because in many ways, up until 40, you were kind of following a script of this is what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you woke up and you started being who you really are. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that?
Well, the first thing for me was my stomach hurt. And I always say, they say, trust your gut.
Literally.
My gut was hurting. And my last job for about 6 months, went to a doctor and he's like, no, I don't see anything wrong. He goes, maybe it is. He said psychological, possibly. I was like, yeah, you're crazy. I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about. I hated my job.
Right.
It really affected me in my stomach. And I was like, so when I gave notice, my stomach stopped hurting. I literally stopped hurting that afternoon when I gave notice. But up until that point, my stomach was hurting. It was a rat race. It was just like I was working 80 hours a week. Yeah, I was making money, but it was like empty money. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was making it, but it wasn't. I lived in a great apartment, and I wasn't fulfilled at all. And my bosses at that time helped usher me into my new life. It was a recession. It was 2008. It was a recession, and they said some stuff to me that was very rude about. I really can't say much back to them because I should be lucky to have a job in this economy. Basically, is what it came to. And that's what really clicked for me. I'm like, I'm 38, 39 years old. You talk to me like I'm a child. No, I don't. And I stopped throwing caution to the wind. You have to believe in yourself. That's number one. Mm-hmm. You have to believe that you can survive what's going to come up next. You don't know what it is, but you got to believe that you're going to survive it. And I was like, I've started over before. I can do this. I'll figure it out. I quit. Gave 2 weeks notice like I was supposed to. I did my 2 weeks with a smile on my face, and I came back to Los Angeles.
And that's when your life started for real.
That's when my life started for real. After 22 years of being gone, I came back at 40 and started my life. And since then, it's been the best thing.
That's so inspiring because I think a lot of people just give up hope and they're like, well, this is all life is going to be for me.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. And even though I know people, like, 'cause I do this line of work of life coaching and stuff, I know people who are single parents with 2 or 3 kids. I have people on this show who tell you they can do it. So it means if they can do it and they got obligations, you can do it too. I can do it. You can do it. We all can do it.
Just have faith.
Have faith, which is hard.
Your wings are going to come after you take that jump.
Yeah.
Just believe.
You have to. That's a hard thing to do.
It is.
I don't want to say it's easy, but you have to. That's a great analogy. You have to believe that once you take that leap, the wings will come and they will glide you along for a while. You may not soar, but you won't drop completely, right? You'll just kind of glide along. And I did. For the first year, I kind of glided along. And then stuff really started to happen once I started to get a vision of what it was I wanted.
So how do you feel now, like physically, now that you're locked into really, doing what you're supposed to be doing?
So professionally, I feel so much better. Emotionally, for my profession, I feel so much better. I am doing all the things I've ever wanted to do. And I can't even tell you how much I almost can cry about it because it's just so, it's so wonderful. I mean, every day is something different. Mm-hmm. And what I'm doing is stuff that I like to do.
That's amazing.
It's like there's nothing on my list I'm doing that I don't want to do. You have to go through that sometimes to get there. Mm-hmm. So my early jobs, as I started over, were not the greatest either, but I got through them to get to where I wanted to be. I tell everybody that I work with, you should not be doing what you don't want to do.
All right, now I want to get a little more personal
Yes.
on the same subject,
Yes.
kind of, but you were married. You have kids.
Well, I wasn't married, but I did have kids.
You have kids. You have
Man,
grandkids.
I have
which,
grandchildren.
I'm sorry, but you look too young to be a grandfather.
Well, you know black folks.
Black don't crack.
Black don't crack, as it is. So, yes. But no, I wasn't married, but I have relationships. I have 2 daughters.
You have 2 daughters.
Yes.
Okay, so you were in a relationship with a woman,
I have been with women, yes.
and now.
Single.
Single?
But I mean, I like men, but I'm single.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like, this fluidity that's going on too. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, being an American is like, I have 500 different ethnic backgrounds. Your job history is like, I've been all over the map. And also with sexuality, it's interesting that you can say, I've experienced both sides.
Yes.
And my question for you is, because I feel like a lot of people are struggling, whether they're gay, straight, or whatever, they feel like they're following a script, whether it's, I am 30 now, so I need to be married and have a baby because that's what you're supposed to do. Or I'm gay and I live in a society that doesn't accept that, and if I come out, everybody will shun me. So what advice do you have for someone that's possibly living a life that is, tainted by society?
It is, number one, it is very hard to be in society these days if you're not white, male, with money, especially in America. If you're anything else, women, women of color, even white women, it doesn't matter. Unless you're a white male, it's very, other than that, we all have something we have to deal with, right? For me, being black, being a person of color, period, I already walk out the door with that. And for many of us who are of color, and for women too, just women, period, we walk out the door with that every day. So we're already got the armor on for that. You have to find a way to live within that, but be yourself. It takes practice. It takes time. This didn't happen in a day. It took again a leap of faith. I keep saying faith, but that's what it was. That I got to be fully who I am. And for you out there, once you're fully who you are, no one can take that away from you. They can say things to you, call you names, try to fire you from jobs, but they can do all this kind of stuff. But if you deep down can accept who you are from the inside out, you will feel so much better. Everything else will suck. Things will suck sometimes. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening. But overall, your mental health and self-care is most important. So my advice is to really fight for yourself. We don't always fight for ourselves. We'll fight for friends and other things and for causes. Fight for yourself.
Yeah. And I think the most beautiful people in the world are the people that just own fully who they are. There's just a confidence about them that it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. It's just, you have this power to attract people because you love yourself, and so everyone else is going to love you too.
And because the thing is, people like being around people with great energy.
Yeah.
They do. And if you don't have that, it's tough to be around, and you just live this miserable existence. And then you'll find people where the misery loves company thing happens. They're miserable too. I'll hook up with you, and then it's like there's this whole cycle. I know it's hard out there. It's not easy, and sometimes it depends on where you live geographically, how hard it is. But I always say start with yourself first. Try to accept yourself fully. Then you can navigate your way through the city you live in, the town you live in, the state you live in, the job you have. I'm hyper aware of who I am every single time I walk out the door, no matter what I'm doing. I'm just always aware. It's just part of my life. Because I walk through the world. I walk the world as an older person, as a big person, as a black man. It doesn't matter. I walk the world that way. But I love James LOTT Jr. So I'm
do
like,
I.
Okay, see.
The moment we met, I was
Yes,
like, man,
we
I
hit it
just
off.
love you.
Yeah,
I just love you.
We hit it off.
And I'm
quickly.
sure you do with everyone you meet, because you
No.
own who you are, and
Yes.
and you're just a wonderful person. So now, okay, I'm gonna lighten the mood, and I
Okay.
want to talk about something that one of your Twitter followers wanted to know about you,
Okay.
and I want to give him a little shout out. So Jonathan Garza, who is at Blue Drum Major,
Oh, yeah, Jonathan. Okay,
you know
yeah,
him.
I know who he is, yes.
He's pretty cute. He would like to get the dirt, literally, on what got you into gardening.
My gardening. I love gardening. Oh my God, Jonathan, no, because he knows that he's a fan of my shows that I do and stuff, and he knows me and a few other actors. We love gardening, so we talk about that on Twitter. Gardening saved my life in many ways. It keeps me calm. I had a guest on this show, Ron Finley. He's the gangster gardener. He's got it where he teaches kids in in rough areas how to garden. Because to watch something from seedling to maturity, it just teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
For me, it's taught me patience. Oh my gosh, so I'm like, these weeds, God bless America. Did I just de-weed this a second ago? Like, what's going on? It teaches me calmness, stillness. It's just beautiful. I mean, I live in South LA, where I live near the airport, I live near the beach. I have a beautiful yard. Right now, it's because it's rained recently. Everything's green.
That's amazing.
My loquats are coming in. My tomatoes are coming in. My avocados are starting to grow. I love watching it, and it just calms me down. It reminds me that there are things bigger than me. I'm a part of the earth, and so I like getting back into the earth.
Yeah, it's your form of meditation.
It is, and there's times when I go outside when I'm just stressed out, because I just had whatever it was work-wise, just things that happen. I go outside, I feel so much better. Take a deep breath, and I'm like, oh my God, and I see a bee pollinating, or I see this, and it just feels good. I have these beautiful bougainvillea in my backyard. I planted these 10 things. It's beautiful. I love I can stare at them for like hours.
I relate to that. And being in touch with nature is so healing. So
yes, and growing your own stuff.
Yeah.
It's when I go out there, I remember I first went through my first green beans. And I had like 2 big ones. That's all I had was 2. You would have thought I had a harvest. I went in my kitchen, I sauteed those 2 green beans.
Those 2 green beans.
I sure did, with some onions and some spices. And I was like, I made my own garden. I mean, I love it. I have to shout out my grandmother Lott, who lived 10 blocks away from us growing up. She had a garden.
So she taught you?
So I learned so much from her and her garden, and a lot of her grandkids, my cousins, we like gardening, we like flowers, we like planting. It's kind of one of the things she passed down to us. Our fathers didn't get it, but we got it. It's kind of interesting. But she always had a garden, so I grew up eating fresh vegetables and fruit as a kid in Los Angeles.
That's amazing.
I know. And only 10 blocks, I could walk to her house from my house growing up. So I kind of taken that with me, and I just love garden. I love plants. I have plants inside my house. I have plants outside. So Jonathan, I love it. It just calms me down.
Do you think he likes gardening?
I think I like gardening. Oh my God! I had a guest on one of my shows where she did a movie called I think it was Heirloom, like Heirloom Tomatoes, because she loves tomatoes. We basically went off on a tangent for like 20 minutes
about tomatoes.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, so we did that. It was kind of crazy. I was like, we're just all about tomatoes. And I'm like, I can talk about gardening all day long. I just love it.
I'm going to talk to you about something else you love.
Yes.
And it's another Twitter question from one of your followers. So his name is @HWView. Haywood W.
Oh, Haywood. Okay, I've heard of him, yes.
Haywood. So he wants to know, which soap would you rather be a regular on? General Hospital or Bold and the Beautiful?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. That's a really good question. Wow, because he knows I love both shows.
What would your character be on the show that you
That's
picked?
a good question, too. Okay, so Bold and the Beautiful set in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
In the fashion. I'm not a huge fashion person.
But you could play one on TV.
I could play one on TV. But then I would go on General. I'm sorry, I would go on General Hospital. I want to be a Spencer. I would want to be one of the Black Spencers. I want to be like Luke's other cousin or something, Luke Spencer's cousin. I would want to be a Spencer, and I would be a professional organizer on the show.
Oh, okay.
Bring that professional onto the show. Organize everybody's lives, on life coach or whatever.
And then people would hire you to come to their house
Yes.
and actually do that, so they could feel like they're on the soap too.
Yes, exactly. Cross promotion, me. But I'm gonna stick my hand up and say General Hospital just because I'm not really a fashion person. So
Okay, all right. I want to do a little lightning round of questions. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Just whatever comes to mind. First thing comes to mind.
Okay.
What is your favorite James LOTT Jr. saying?
That is funny. Well, first comes to mind is cheese and crackers.
Cheese and crackers.
My fans know that one. That's what cheese and crackers.
I like it. If you could trade places with one famous person for a day, who would it be?
Ooh. First one that comes to mind would be Barbra Streisand.
Okay. You know she's going to be in town soon.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Wine or dessert?
Wine.
Oh, I'll take the dessert. We're a good match.
Yes.
Whose closet would you love to reorganize?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, let's reorganize. Madonna.
Oh, that's a good one.
Be curious what she has in there.
Yeah.
If she has her old costume style, I would love to see that
Oh,
stuff.
that would be awesome.
Exactly.
Did you see that episode where Mariah Carey showed us her closet?
Yes.
That was just like...
It was insane. It was insane. I loved it. It was insane.
Did you notice she changed her outfit for every room in the house?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
side note. Okay.
yeah. I watched it. I like Mariah.
That was
I care.
Cribs.
Yeah, it was Cribs.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, yes.
If there was a dance named after you, what would it be called?
Oh my god, that is funny. Everybody knows I'm a dancer. I'm trying to think what. The Get Down.
The Get Down. I like the James LOTT Jiggle. I just feel like I just want to jiggle when I'm looking.
I jiggle. I jiggle
James
all the time.
LOTT Jiggle.
I jiggle.
Have you ever had a supernatural experience?
Yes.
Oh.
I've had
Okay,
many.
I will follow up with
Okay,
that one
I've had
because I'm
many.
interested.
Yeah. Right.
First thing that comes to your mind, happiest moment in your life.
When I became a life coach,
Okay.
I passed the test and I was ready. That was a big deal for me.
Interesting. Favorite song to karaoke to?
On a Clear Day You Can See Forever by Barbra Streisand.
Okay. Barbra Streisand strikes
That's
again.
my girl. That's my girl. That's my girl. I love her.
What is your most embarrassing moment?
I spit up on Natalie Cole once.
Oh. Did
was-
she notice?
Yeah, and she was so gracious. May she rest in peace. She was so gracious. We saw it fly out onto her dress.
In slow motion.
In slow motion, and she was like, ugh. And she was like, oh. And I said, girl, I am so sorry. And she's like, oh, it's fine. And she gave me a hug afterwards, but I was so embarrassed.
That's all right. You owned it.
Yeah, I
you
owned
owned
it.
it. Who would be your ultimate dream guest on this show?
Well, besides Barbra Streisand. But I mean, on this show, my dream guest, Tina Turner.
Tina Turner.
That's one of my idols. I'd love to talk to her.
What's the one question if you only get one question?
Well, I get one question. Well, I had one question. That's a really good question. If I had one question to ask her, I would say, what was it like to dance in heels for 4 hours in your 60s?
Interesting.
What does that feel like?
I mean, she's a rock star.
Well, it's funny because just a little side note, when she went into retirement and she gave her announcement in her 60s, and people were just like, why? And she's like, I'm a 60-year-old grandmother. I'm tired. That was her answer. But we're so used to her, she could do it.
Yeah.
And she looks so youthful.
She looks amazing.
It's just like, that was just kind of a crazy thing.
I wish I could walk in shoes like her for just 5 minutes
God.
versus 4 hours
I don't know
on
how
stage.
I don't know how you girls deal with the ones with 5 and 6 inch heels, and Prince too. Prince was one of those too. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah. So, and when I love asking everybody this question because I feel like it gets you like an idea of who they are. Who's your celebrity crush?
Wow.
I told you we're gonna dig deep into your inner workings here today.
You know what? Okay, I have a crush on somebody that's not a huge star and is part of a show that I do called When Calls to Hearts.
Okay.
I got to meet her and interview her, and she's so beautiful. Her name's Pascal Hutton.
Okay.
She's one of the leads on Just Plays Rosemary. I think she's so beautiful. And I watched her on screen and was like, I'm just totally in love.
I can't wait to Google and see
Yeah,
her
take a
image.
look at it. And our interview, I told her how pretty she was. So I was like, oh my God, you're so pretty. I just think she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm enamored by her completely.
Okay, I want to go back to the supernatural
Yes.
experience because I want to know.
I can tell you one for sure. That was that's Pascal. Yes, that's my girl. She's so pretty. Okay, so one summer I was on tour for these conferences we were doing, and we were in Vegas. My best friend at the time, we shared a room. He was in one bed, I was in the other bed. It was early in the morning, and I looked over and I saw my late grandmother sitting on his bed. And she looked really pretty. She's wearing this great dress. I remember like it was yesterday. Her hair was done, great dress. She's like 4'11", and her name's Mitzi. And so I was like, Mitzi, and she looked over me and she was saying to me, I'm okay, because I had a hard time with her death. We were not on speaking terms when she died. It was a whole big thing. So for like 20 years, I've been feeling this kind of this unease about her passing, and we just didn't. So she said to me, I'm okay. We're okay. Everything's okay. Then I had a cat who was having surgery back in San Francisco that week. He's like, and Sasha will be fine. I'm like, oh, okay, because she loves cats. It's okay. But then she got up, walked to the door.
Oh God, yeah.
And said, I go, Mitzi, wait. And she's like, 11. and she walked out.
That's creepy.
My friend wakes up an hour later and says, "Do you have an earthquake?" I think no, it's regular earthquake. I feel like my bed was moving. Then we go downstairs to sign in. Macy's, 11% off on blank. My number for my badge, 11 was on it. I got to get something to eat. I came to 11:11. I found a dime and a penny on the ground, 11 cents. So every time I see 11, I think of her.
You know that's an angel number, right? That's
So.
a sign. That is a sign, because I always see 1111, and I was seeing it so much that
Yeah.
I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Let me Google it, and it's a sign from the angels that you're on the right path.
Maybe there you go. I'll
There
take
you
it.
go.
I'll take it. But she said we're okay, and that actually helped me heal with her. But it was not a dream. I was like I felt I was fully awake, and I saw her spirit.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. And I also have my house in Pittsburgh. I have a house in Pittsburgh. I have a spirit there, and I say hi to it. I don't know if it's a man or a woman or a girl
It's
or a boy.
a friendly spirit?
Yep, says my name all the time, and just says James.
Oh my God.
I looked around, I was like, nobody out there, and I'll go, okay, just a second. And I learned to acknowledge when I walk to the house, hi, spirit, I love you, thanks for watching my house, and then we're fine.
Okay.
So I believe in supernatural stuff.
I have goosebumps.
Okay, it's like, I love it. I believe in it. Well, we're all energy, so I believe in it. I believe in energy.
absolutely.
I believe in energy.
Have you had any energy from your puppy?
Here's what's funny. I interviewed a clairvoyant this morning, Katrina Jane. She'll be on my show tomorrow, one of my many jobs. A lot of help podcast. She wrote a book about talking about loss to kids. And I mentioned to her that I hear Scrabble's tapping when he walks in my kitchen.
Oh my God.
Because he had these, I just call them the ghetto nails, because they would grow so long, so fast. It's like women. And I was like, okay. And once every couple of weeks, I'll hear it in the kitchen.
Really? So what did she say, the clairvoyant?
She said, "Oh, he's still letting you know
still
that
there.
he's there. He's letting you know that he's around. He loves you.
Oh
He
my
knows.
God.
He knows. It's been 6 months. He knows you miss him.
Aww.
And so I hear his tapping, and now it's comforting when I hear it. I hear it sometimes. I go, oh, okay.
Are you gonna get a new dog?
And my parents just got one, and I'm having a hard time warming up to him.
Well, that's their dog. What about you?
I know. It's like I don't know yet. I'm not ready.
Okay.
I'm not ready.
Let me know when you're ready. I'll
Yeah.
go with you.
Okay. I totally believe in going to a shelter. You got a dog at a
Yes.
shelter. I'm all about that. It has to be another Chihuahua, of course. I
Yeah.
do that, but I'm not ready yet. Not
Okay.
at all. Not at all. I still.
Well, you travel
listen,
all the time.
There's
too.
that too. There is that too. But I miss him. He was a member of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And he has such personality. Oh my God, it was crazy. That I miss him.
Yeah.
I just can't even.
I have a Chihuahua too,
Yeah,
and he has ghetto nails too.
See, they do.
So I know exactly.
They grow so fast. You get them cut, but they grow so fast.
Yeah, it just sounds like high heels on the
Yes.
floor all the time. I'm
Exactly.
like,
Exactly, girl. I was like, girl, exactly. It's like, it's so weird. It's so weird. Yes.
You lost your dog at the same time as you lost your brother
My grandmother. Yes.
and your grandmother.
Yes.
It was it was a lot of loss at the same time. Any feelings of them coming to you?
Oh my God. Here you go.
Here we
I know.
go.
I know. I was gonna
I
start
don't
crying.
have tissues though.
I don't have any of this. Fine. I'll just wipe my sleeve, whatever. But I just, because it's been about 6 months now, and I have my brother. He used to love Shah Khan. You know, I'm Barbra Streisand. He's Shah Khan, and we've seen Shah Khan together in concert several times over the years. And a song will come on. It's like a song will come on. One of the ones that he loved, and that just gets me every time. My grandmother, I haven't seen her yet or anything, but I wish she would come to me because I miss her all the time.
I'm sure she's gonna come to you.
It's. I know that it's up to them, and I know probably she's maybe because she died, and there was a lot of drama around her death. So maybe she's working that out, I guess. But I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her, and so I miss her all the time. But I don't see her. With my brother, I hear stuff all the time, and it's really interesting.
Tell us one happy memory of you and your brother.
He was louder than me.
That sounds
That's
impossible.
It's impossible. But it's just a general. Just anytime I saw him, big hug. Oh my God! And we just would hug and we would just talk, and we would laugh all the time. Yeah, it just made you feel really important. That's it. I miss it all the time. So that's what I miss. People don't talk about that the most. It's the everyday stuff. It's the I don't get a phone call or a text. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because I'll see something funny, like the
You
Real
think of
Housewives,
him.
and I'll think of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm like, oh my God, Kenya's doing this, and I can't say anything because I can say it out loud, I guess, but he's just not there to make me laugh. I was his last text before he died, and I saw that I still have our texting chain on my phone, and I'll look at it sometimes and I'll smile, but it's just the everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Not just the big moments. I miss the everyday stuff, and just to talk. He would come to me he was older than me, but he would come to me for advice, and he really was happy I was doing this. He was so happy for me.
Supportive. What was he doing? He was a bodybuilder or something?
Yeah, he was like a mayor of West Hollywood. He knew everybody in West Hollywood. He was a bodybuilder. He worked out. He worked at FedEx for a while and Bed Bath & Beyond. He had jobs, but he was a beautiful singer and he was a great actor. But he just didn't have the confidence to fully go into it, like I did. And he always admired that about me because he was still trying to find himself.
Right.
And he finally found himself before he died. I think he really truly finally accepted who he was and what he could offer, and then the heart attack came.
Life is so short. I mean, I lost both of my parents when they were super young, and it just kind of rattled me into saying you got to live every day to its fullest. And if you're not living your life as you really are, you're just wasting time. So I really find inspiration in you doing this, living your life, doing what you love. Even, he's told me stories about painting and how that's transformed his life, and like just embodying the person who you were meant to be is the most inspiring thing. And it sounds like it's no big deal maybe to some people, like I just am who I am,
but it is. It's when you can accept who you are, it's a really big deal. It's freeing. It really is freeing. I think people try to look for happiness. I say look for freedom. Happiness is just an emotion. It happens. It's going to come and go. But you want overall freedom. I'm free to be me. I know I'm quoting like back in the 70s. What's her name? Oh my God, she's Marlo Thomas. She had a free to be me thing. I'm aging myself. But I'm free to be me. And so it just makes the difference. I don't have to really apologize or worry about it. I'm coming in situations, you're getting me. Right. I have a friend, Regina Lark, always says, "You do James LOTT Jr. very well." So he says that. You do very well. And so it's just very wonderful to finally come to a place where I'm like, yes, I gained some weight, I can handle that. I have some gray in my goatee, I can handle that. It's just easier than trying to fight it and not growing old gracefully and people who are in inner turmoil, it must be just hell for them.
Have you ever read any books about self-care or inner growth? What's been like the most inspiring book that has affected you?
Actually, it was funny. A book by Mary Louise Parker, who's an actress, an award-winning actress. She wrote a book called Dear Mister. And every letter is to a man in her life. Okay. From her dad to her son and everybody in between. And each essay / letter, I felt it. It's just like it's her message to them about who she is, kind of relation to them, how they've helped her become who she is. That book is so, I gave it as a present to several people. It's so good. Okay, I'm gonna look at it. No, seriously, it's really good. And for me, it's inspired me to do some projects coming up that I can't talk about yet, on the lines of something like that. Just kind of like, it's kind of interesting. People can influence who you are, and even if it's bad, but in a good way. And that book really told me, it's time, you got to take care of yourself. Yeah. And you got to let go of a lot of stuff and find a place for it. I had to do a lot of letting go to find places for stuff. Because I had some other violent things happen to me growing up, and things happen that I had to learn how to find a place for them, not hold on to them, right, and make them my identity, but part of my past and identity. I don't want to keep going to the dark side. I know, but that's fine. Yes. I really feel like, especially now, it's so topical with #MeToo. Yes. I got a little snippet of something that, like what you just kind of alluded to. I've talked about it before, so yes, I have no problem talking about it. So, I just would love to hear the story. So, years ago, I was a victim of let me rephrase that. I was a survivor of a violent attack and rape at knife point, and I was left for dead. by a coworker. This is when I was a nurse.
Oh my God.
And it was one of the most physically traumatizing things in my entire life. But emotionally, it wrecked me emotionally because he said things like, well, men don't get raped, they won't believe you anyway. You can't tell anybody. They'll just say you're gay, so you wanted it.
Oh my God.
And all the things, he fed into all the things that you think they would say to men. And so women have it, I mean, totally rough, of course, when it comes to that kind of stuff. But men have a different way that's hard because it affects our masculinity.
Yeah.
And I had to first deal with the physical stuff, which was horrendous, and pain that I can't even describe to you, and just being violated that way. But also the after effects emotionally. Like I always said after, this will never happen to me ever again. But you just never know what situation will happen to you. I was caught off guard. I was knocked out from behind. I walked to a bathroom and he knocked me out, and I woke up to this happening to me with a knife to my throat. So there was nothing I could do. It wasn't about sex.
It was about power.
It was about power. I had to learn that though, because a sexual act is being performed on me. But I had to say, this is not about that. It's that he felt whatever he was feeling, he tried to put it on me. And so it took me, I had a great therapist, Sherry Collington. I love her. Wherever she is, I love you. My father got me help. She helped me see that this had nothing to do with me.
No, it was his issue.
It was his issue. He's dead. He's dead now. So I never pressed charges. I never did anything. I wish I had, but I had shame. I was totally shameful. This happened, I was in my 20s. I mean, I was young. This was back in the 90s. I mean, so a lot of things were different back then that we didn't have now. And I'm a black man, and what does that mean? And but it made me realize that people have their own issues. And we'll try to put them on you, whether it's emotionally, physically, through rape, through verbal abuse. It taught me to get stronger and not let people lay their stuff on me.
Do you think that it's impacted who you are today?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely. I will say occasionally people will approach me a certain way from behind, I jump. It's the rape, I will never forget the rape. I will never forget it for the rest of my life. But I have found a place for it. And the reason why I'm not crying is because I kind of been I was told to talk about it. So I've been in places and talked about it, done stuff with Rain and everything. So I've talked about it, but I think it's very important for boys and men to know, and for women, boys and men can get raped. And it's a violent act that is about power.
Right.
And you should not feel ashamed or hurt by that. After you get through the physical pain, go get help. Again, get back to center. Find out who you are. Because I am changed forever. My life has been changed forever because of that experience. It changed the way I look at things sexually, religiously, physically, everything. It's changed everything about me. But it hasn't changed the core of who I am. I found it again. I went back and found that again.
Maybe that was the light in the dark, that you were able to find the core of who you were.
Sherry Compton, LCSW, thank you very much. She helped me find it. It took several years. It wasn't like overnight I was better. It took about 3 or 4 years of therapy once a week with her. And then some group work because the violent part was the part that really was like, it was rough.
No, I can't imagine anything worse than that, but I feel like it's kind of given you the ability also to relate to what's going on in our world right now with, what women are talking about, but men too. Men are coming out as well and saying, I was raped or I was treated.
Well, also the like Corey Feldman's talking about it, and other people. I think Todd Bridges was talking about it. There are a lot of child stars in Hollywood, men who went through a lot of stuff with other men and women. Some women too. Women can rape and women can do things too. So it's not just a gender exclusive. But I feel for all the women who are brave enough to come out and talk about it. It's not easy. I know it from such personal experience. It's hard to admit you were raped. And it's hard to not make it your whole identity too. I get in relationships and say, well, I was raped, that's why I feel this way. Like, and it's not their fault you were raped.
Right.
Now I'm putting things on them.
Right.
I had to literally stop the cycle.
Yeah, because that person that raped you was still holding on to power by you letting that affect your future relationships.
Right. So they still win. And I'm not letting that thing win. Let me catch my breath. I'm not going to let him win. I'm not going to let him win. I have to win. So that's why I'm trying to change my language to I'm a survivor, a thriver of rape, instead of saying a victim.
Have you gone and talked to people, kids, or anybody that's dealt with something similar to help them?
Yes, I do volunteer with the Trevor Project. I did volunteer with the Latino Men's Group. I have talked to young men who have been abused, been molested. I've told my story, which has helped them. And hopefully they're doing good. I mean, I hope that all the young men I've talked to are doing well, but I've talked to them about it.
I mean, you have such a wonderful voice that it would really help people. I know. So.
I will continue talking about it. I have no problem. I feel no shame. I am a man, and I am very proud of being a man. But I had a violent act.
No, and there's people probably watching right now that don't have the courage to come out with something that happened to them. But seeing, look at who you are right now. Like, it's such an inspiration. So I think it's really important to go and talk about the things that we've overcome to become who we are.
Yes, I like that. That's very true, because you have to live life. You're living life, and there's things there's things you are going to overcome that still make up who you are.
Right.
Good, bad, or different, and it's good.
All right, I'm gonna move on to happier. I'm sorry, but you know what? You can't just be amazing James LOTT Jr. without having a backstory. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. That's why I totally understand.
I want to talk about this show.
Okay.
What's been your favorite guest or moment on this show?
One of my favorite moments on this show, it was my 100th episode. It was my 2-year anniversary. My 2-year anniversary last year, I had 5 men. And we were all different ages, all people of color. We had Cuban, black, mixed, Arab. We had everybody. We were all here, and we had the best discussion. And one of my favorite moments of that show, you can watch the show, it's on YouTube, where my buddy, who's a comedian, Tamir says, women are brought up bulimic in terms of how they look. Men are brought up bulimic in terms of emotion.
Oh, that's so interesting.
When he said that, all of us men totally froze. It was such quote Oprah, was an aha moment.
Yeah.
When he said that, he goes, yes, because he goes, how can we tell men to treat women right when they're emotionally bulimic? I was like, drop the mic.
Yeah.
See you later. You can do my show for me. I'm done.
Wow.
I mean, he said that, and that was my favorite of my 105 episodes I've done this show for 2 years. That was my favorite moments ever. It just was like, yes. That's so true. We tell women about their looks. You know all that. But for men, we're told, get over it. Be a man. Don't cry. Don't do this other stuff. And I'm sitting here crying on TV. You couldn't do that 5-10 years ago. You can't cry on TV. You're a man. We're teaching our men to be bulimic in emotions. So of course we're not treating women right. Of course men are getting upset when they get turned down. And when a woman says no. They get up, they're like whiny babies, because we haven't taught them that it's okay.
Do you think it's changing now?
Not yet, but I hope it is.
Yeah.
I think it's changing in terms of women are speaking up and saying, okay, no more, we're done. But I think men are still as whiny and as underdeveloped as ever. And I think it's coming out more.
That's interesting. I feel like in today's society, I think, women, the moms decide, they spend the most time, for the most part, with their kids. And I feel like now people are embodying, let your kids be emotional. Let them be. I think it's really important.
Yes.
Because otherwise you get people that do stupid things. Some politicians I'm not going to mention. They're just so frustrated because they don't have the right words.
Yes. But what's funny is, for me, I grew up in an era in the 70s where we were a little latchkey kid. Parents are working, a lot of single parents. For a lot of us, we were the men of the house for our mothers. God bless our mothers, but just like we were the surrogate boyfriend, surrogate father. I had to take care of the younger kids. I had to grow up fast. I learned how to cook, do laundry, everything at 9 years old. I was doing all of that. And a lot of us get that, where you're the man of the house now, James. I was told that. You're the man of the house now. You got to look after your mother. You got to look after the kids. So we're not getting the emotional support that we should be getting. So hopefully it is changing. I hope that is changing. We shouldn't be our mothers, significant others. We should be their kids.
Absolutely.
And so I think my grandkids are better off than I am. They're really they're very emotional, strong kids.
They're in touch with their emotions.
I think so. I think, well, at least the younger two especially, I think they are.
What has been the thing that you learned the most since you started on day one doing
Wow.
broadcasting to right now, this moment?
Well, I've celebrated 3 years last month, so doing this. What I have learned is to stay present and to not stick to my questions all the time. That the real gold comes in the conversation. I've really learned that. I mean, there are people I've talked to where, I mean, I had a certain set of questions and I got to many of them, but they would give pearls of wisdom in the answer. And I'm like, you got to go with that, James.
Yep.
Like, again, leap of faith that you'll be able to ask them the next question that will be good in terms of what they're saying and pick up what they're saying. And that's something that I didn't realize from day one. My first guest was Joshua Silverstein to now me being the latest one at 105 episodes. It was like being present, like being present, and you'll get the good stuff.
Absolutely.
You'll get the good stuff.
Who inspires you when it comes to interviewing?
Larry King, Barbara Walters, this guy named Sam Jones. He has a show called Off Camera with Sam Jones. They are good interviewers. They completely let people speak. They ask really interesting questions, not the usual. So when you're on the show and you had to kiss your co-star, like they don't ask that kind of stuff. They really go deep, but they're good. Larry King is so good. I mean, he's like 800 years old, but he knows how to ask the right questions. And Barbara Walters is a legend. You say whatever you want to about her, and she's become a caricature sometimes, some people, but she was the first female doing this, and she has interviewed everyone. And she gets some good stuff out of them. Because, people will say Oprah. I mean, I'm an Oprah fan on some level, but I don't know if she's the best interviewer. I think Barbara, hands down, could get stuff out of give love a turn up. You get blood. And I like to think that a lot of people will say, James, I never talk about this except for you, or I never thought about that until you said that. I like to think I get things out of people too that they normally wouldn't.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think I'm comfortable.
Yep.
I try to make them feel comfortable. Try to give them a safe space. I know it sounds cliche, but this is a safe space. I'm not gonna make you look bad. I want you to look good. So I'm not gonna really ask you anything to make you look bad. Sometimes I'll play like clips of things of theirs that they're like, I haven't done that in a long time.
Right.
One of my favorite guests on the show was Toni Basil. She, Oh Mickey, You're So Fine was her big hit, of course, everybody knows her for that. But she's this choreographer dancer who from the 50s and 60s doing beach movie choreography. And then she was pop locking with black people. I mean, she had the best story, and she was so open to our conversation. And we had a great hour by so fast. I'll never forget her. She was just like one of the best. Was the best.
I love just talking to you. I mean, of course you're going to be a great interviewer. Because you're just so pleasant to be around. I'm not just kissing your butt here.
I know, but
I don't say it unless I mean it.
I like people, so I think that comes across. I like people, and I want to talk. I want us to have a good time.
I appreciate you letting me talk to you right now because I love interviewing people.
Yes.
So this is like a pleasure for me. I want to ask you about living in LA.
Yes.
What's your favorite LA pastime?
Actually, it's so funny. I love the beach.
Really?
I was a beach baby. I love the beach. I missed the beach when I was living here.
What's your favorite beach?
I'm way down where I'm at. So Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, that whole area. I love it. I just love the smell of water.
Do you go in the water?
Sometimes.
It's so cold.
It's very cold, but I like it. It's less crowded than Santa Monica and Venice and all those. It's just that I just love the sun. It's warmer. It's brighter, but it's not as hot like the valley. I love it. Also I love going to Hollywood. I like being in Hollywood and just seeing
the freaks.
Just the freaks, what's going on. There's always stuff going on, no matter where you go. So I like to go eat somewhere or I just love it. Those are two things they're very LA to me.
If you were gonna take some visitor from out of town out to see one cool thing in LA, where would you take them?
Ooh, that's a good question. One cool thing in LA. Oh, I know. Okay, I have one. So I have this spot. Everybody don't start rushing to go there because this is my spot. It's by the airport, by LAX. There's an intersection. It's Lincoln and Sepulveda. And they meet. It's a little tiny park.
It's called In-N-Out.
And In-N-Out's right by it. In-N-Out's right behind it. But no,
I'm very familiar with that In-N-Out.
But in front of it, the park itself. So you smell the In-N-Out while you're sitting there.
It's literally adjacent.
Yeah, it is. But anywho, it is the little park itself. I love taking people there because the planes are coming into approach on runway 24. I know that I used to work at the airports and all the different runways.
You sound like you're calling the planes in right now, by the way.
Runway 24, you can land now. Thank you. And you can, it's amazing. Actually, we have gone in and out, got the food, sat there, and you see the planes coming in, and it's scary and it's exciting at the same time. I see people there and they just freak out, but they love it.
I live right by there, and I swear every time I drive by, there is always at least 10 people standing on that little patch of grass, even if it's raining. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's my spot. I love that spot. And there's also another spot at the CVS over there on Sepulveda. Go up to the parking garage on top.
Okay.
And you get, it's really empty over there, and you can see all the planes taking off.
Ooh, little secret. That would be a good little date if anyone's looking for a cool place to take a date.
I've done that. Yeah, so but it's really cool. But it's really it's like this little spot, and you see all planes taking off, and it's kind of fun to watch which ones take off, how much power they take. It's a good time.
Speaking of taking off, I feel like you are just taking off on your amazing career. So if you see yourself in 10 years from now, where are we?
We are. That's a good question. I actually was doing this the other day. 10 years from now, my media empire is intact. I have shows that I'm producing, shows that I'm on. I have my radio show still going, TV stuff going. Also, my books are out there. My music is out there. I have artists underneath me. I want to have people underneath me. I want to have talent underneath me that work with me. I want to have partnerships with networks. I really want to have my own just like media empire. I do. I've been building it. I built it from scratch, and so. In 10 years, I can see that totally happening, where it's just continuing to go that way.
I can see it too.
Yeah, that's my.
Don't forget the little people, please.
I take certain folks with me. I'm all about the village. I mean, that's one of my things that my fans know about the village, and you're part of my village anyway. But it's the village.
Thank you so much, James, for letting me be part of your village.
Yes.
And not being scared to take the hot seat today and lose control. He was very scared right before we started recording. He's like, I don't know where we're going with this show. So I appreciate you just submitting to the universe.
Thank you.
And letting me take you on this journey.
Yeah.
And letting your audience learn a little bit more about who you are.
Yes, thank you.
I loved it. Thank you guys for joining us today. Don't forget to follow the show at Black Hollywood Live on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. And I've been your host today. My name is Alice Sarfati. You can find all about me at alicesarfati.com.
And of course, I'm James LOTT Jr. And I have some great guests coming up in April. So you want to stay tuned, go to our Facebook page, Breaking Into, and you can follow what's going on. I have some really good guests. Next week, it's my James's Favorite Things. So local people who have things going on, I'm bringing them on the show, their products. I'm going to talk about that. Like Miss Jessie's hair care products and Sugarfina and all things like that. So we do that. Also, I have 2 new workshops I'm starting. If you're in LA area, come see me. Come to the workshop. They're $20 each. Learn how to get organized. So you can go to thesuperorganizeruniverse.com, which is my blog. I'm James LOTT Jr. I'll see you next time.
Woo! That was so much fun.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.